91.9 WDET FM. I'm Tia Graham, and this week we're joined by someone special. Okay, first and foremost, I want to prefix this right now because it's a Detroiter across from me, so I'm super excited about that. So we have Orlando Bailey, the Executive Director of Outlier Media, an online publication and a partner of WDET. First and foremost, welcome back to the Metro.
Tia, I'm so excited to be back. Good morning.
But welcome
so
back
much
as the co-host. As the
I know,
Metro.
this is going to be a fun week, right?
Yes.
A West Sider talking to an East Sider all week. We are displaying diplomatic relations between both sides of town. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be a great time.
Diplomatic diplomacy right here.
Diplomacy right here on Ground Zero. Today on the program, Oakland County has been trending politically blue for the past decade. We'll hear from the chairman of the Republican Party about what he's doing to try to turn the county red.
But first up on the Metro, communities across Metro Detroit host a variety of events to engage residents throughout the year. Another one of those celebrations is happening this weekend with the Hazel Park Art Fair. The work from over 100 artists will be on display and for sale. And like previous years, there will be a host of family-friendly activities with a few stops for beer lovers in attendance as well. Joining us on the Metro to chat a little bit more about the Hazel Park Art Fair is Lily Ristau. She is the secretary of the Hazel Park Arts Council. Lily, welcome to the Metro.
Hi there. Good morning. How are you guys?
Doing well.
Oh, good.
Love your tats.
Thank you.
Really cool.
Thank you. I can't be on an arts council and not have any tattoos.
Exactly.
Come on.
Display your creativity on your arm. But the Hazel Park Art Fair is happening this weekend. How does Hazel Park put it on? What are some of the things that people should know? And what does it mean to the community?
Yeah, well, the Hazel Park Art Fair is truly a labor of love. We're all volunteers who put it on because we just love the community and want to see, the artists in our community shine, and also giving Hazel Parkers in the surrounding area, just a fun, free, family-friendly event this weekend. And we have, I say that we have like art in all of its forms, which I think is so fun. Like we have obviously nearly 100 artists doing every type of art you could think of, even like some wild, crazy stuff, which is so much fun. But then we also have like aerial performers from D3 Circus.
Nice.
And food, obviously, we have live demonstrations. So there's like something for everybody, I feel like.
Yeah.
No matter what you enjoy, you can find something fun.
And, just building off, we talked a little bit earlier before we got on mic, and you just talked about some of the things that you've learned to do and started to pick up because you went to the Hazel Park Art Fair.
Yeah, the Clausen Clay Guild started doing live demonstrations with us last year. So they bring their pottery wheels so you can give pottery a shot, which is something I'd always wanted to try, but I was like, I don't know. And I gave it a shot there.
I always wanted to try that because of Demi Moore and Patrick Swayze and
I
Ghost.
mean, I can't guarantee that for you at the art fair, but...
Will it be that romantic?
Green Acres Park is a beautiful park, okay?
Yes.
I don't know.
Come on, let's get some Righteous Brothers going and let's do it.
Find your love. The Hazel Park
Find your
Art
love
Fair.
at the Hazel Park Art Fair.
But I did go a little bit because now I take pottery class through the Clausen Clay Guild, and I love it. It's such a great outlet. But this year we're actually doing something a little different. We're, in addition to just being able to try it, we're going to do live raku firing, which is like this thing where basically they do it on site. They make the pottery, they put it into an oven that's like 1800 degrees.
Oh, so they bake it on site.
Literally, it's like red fire. It's so cool. If you like look at YouTube videos of it, it's really cool. And then you can buy it there. So you can see your pot get made and buy it there if you want to.
How are they bringing the oven? Where's the oven?
Oh my gosh, it's a whole thing. They're bringing it in. They have them at their guild, and we're setting it up at the art fair for the first time ever. So we're really excited.
I love that so much, which was one of my main questions, actually, was going to talk about the raku firing. Like, what is that? But
I know. Pottery nerds only know about it. We're hoping to expand the circle,
Yes.
Is it going to be like roped off? That's really hot.
We had to talk to like a fire marshal. I don't know the details on that, but yes, it's going to be very safe, but it's a very cool thing. Even if you don't buy the pottery, just to see it happen is really cool. It's an ancient Japanese technique. So
yeah, that's how I feel when I see glass blowing up close and in person. It's just like, wow, this is something that's like, first and foremost, an ancient technique that's been happening, and then just to see it live in your face is absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
So right now we're chatting with, if you're joining us, we're speaking with Lily Ristau, the secretary of Hazel Park Arts Council. She's chatting with us about the Hazel Park Art Fair happening this Saturday and Sunday. So just speaking about the community in general, Hazel Park community. You just moved there.
Yeah, in 2018, I moved and wanted to get involved, so I joined the Arts Council, and it's really exciting to see, at the art fair every year I overhear people saying, like, I didn't know this was in Hazel Park. Like, this is so cool. Like, I think it brings a different side of Hazel Park. We have a really arts-focused community, a lot of artists in our community, and so this really provides them an opportunity. We have some Hazel Park artists as well, but also just brings people together and gives them something to do in the city of Hazel Park, which is nice.
Exactly. And just once again, speaking about the surrounding communities, you have Hazel Park, you have Clawson, you have a showdown.
Yeah.
What's the showdown?
Hazel Park showdown?
It sure is.
The mashing of the words. I love
know.
That.
It's a lot of fun. You get these talented potters just over here, like, throwing pottery blindfolded and like who can throw faster. And we'll even do things where we'll pick...
I'm sorry, what?
Yeah.
So they're throwing it.
Oh, well, on the wheel. So
on the wheel, okay.
Well, unless it's really bad.
Help us out now, because we don't have the language just yet.
True. Unless the pottery's
okay.
really bad, then I don't know. Maybe they will throw it because it went terribly. But no, so it'll be on the wheel, like blindfolded, and making pottery and showing down against each other. And we'll even have like participants from the attendees come up and they'll see who can make a sculpture the fastest, like the person.
You're still in the running towards becoming America's next top potter.
Yes. New slogan for next year. Done.
You all have the traveling wishing tree. What is the significance of that?
That's a couple years we've been doing that now. It's really fun. We put out a bunch of ribbon and we keep all of it on there. So basically every year you can write your wish and tie it. And then you can also read what other people's wishes are for what they want to see in their life for the upcoming year. So it's fun to just go through and read what other people are wishing for. It's like an interactive sort of art piece that we bring back every year.
Nice. So you moved here in 2018 and you've been in this community. You've seen everything that's been happening in the community. What are some things that you've seen that you, number one, love to see in Hazel Park? You've been there for a little bit. But then some things that you think you can see improving in Hazel Park.
Sure. I mean, I love just seeing how proud people are to be from Hazel Park, how proud they are to see the growth of the city. I think, every year we get a little bit more development. I mean, they just redid, the adding bike lanes and right downtown there. So, it really does feel like every year there's progression, which is great. And I mean, I don't know. I guess just to see that keep growing and having more of these events, we would love to do more on the Arts Council. We're all volunteers. So, the more we can do. So just getting people to, join your local groups like that, your local committees and everything, and get involved in your community, then you can just do more, the more people you have,
So this is a free event. And the last takeaway I have for you, people interested in visiting this weekend, what should they know?
It's Saturday and Sunday in Green Acres Park. We have food. We have a charity beer tent, and all of the Arts Council proceeds from this event go back into the city of Hazel Park.
Nice.
So it allows us to do scholarship programs,
nice.
to get some public art, all of that. So you're drinking for a good cause, you're hanging out for a good cause, and it's just this whole weekend. So come hang out and support.
Awesome. Lily Ristau is the Secretary of Hazel Park Arts Council. The Hazel Park Art Festival, once again, is this Saturday and Sunday at 11 a.m. Both Saturday and Sunday. It ends on different times, but starts at 11 a.m. Saturday and Sunday at Green Acres Park. Lily, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
This is The Metro on 101.9 WDET FM. I am Tia Graham here with Orlando Bailey, the Executive Director of Outlier Media, and the weather today. There's a chance of rain after 2 p.m. I did not bring my umbrella. It's going to be a low in the 70s with a 20-mile-per-hour breeze, so watch out for that. Tuesday through Thursday, partly sunny with highs in the 70s, and Friday, 80 degrees and sunny. So it looks like it's going to be relatively decent this week.
Yeah, we should make sure we bring our umbrellas and sweaters because the lows clothes get a little chilly. I want to hit this news real quick. The head of Detroit's 36th District Court has ordered training for a judge who threatened to jail a teenager for falling asleep in his courtroom. Chief Judge William McConaughey has temporarily removed Judge Kenneth King from his docket. King said he didn't like the girl's attitude and had her handcuffed and put in jail clothes. She was there as part of a field trip. Her mother says the girl was sleepy because the family doesn't have a permanent home. King told the media he did nothing wrong. So many thoughts there.
I know, so many thoughts. I just, in my mind, how traumatic of an experience that would have been for me as that age. So I know for her, it's really traumatic to be put into clothes and act as
and handcuffed and threatened with a few nights in the county jail. Here's the thing that I would say: I don't understand our proclivity toward punitive measures. Right? This is a 16-year-old girl. She's falling asleep. People can't help themselves when they're falling asleep, right? And so the proclivity to automatically punish her in that way is sickening to me. It's a bit asinine, and it was uncalled for. He still has not apologized.
Exactly. Just hearing that as well, it's like nothing was wrong, but that is... so we're not going to get into that right now, like you just said. With so many thoughts. However, we do have something coming up. What's coming up next?
Coming up, Oakland County has been trending politically blue for the past decade. We'll hear from a Republican in the area about what he's doing to try to turn the county red.
It's the Metro on 101.9 WDET FM. I am Tia Graham, and this week in the co-host chair we have Orlando Bailey, the Executive Director of Outlier Media. Welcome to the Metro as the co-host. Thank you so much for being here once again. It's a huge pleasure to have a Detroiter sitting across from me, East Side, West Side.
It's a pleasure and an honor for us to demonstrate East Side, West Side diplomacy.
Okay.
And so I am loving it.
Yes.
I am loving it.
But we do have a conversation coming up, Oakland County Republican perspectives on changing the county red, back to red.
Yeah, you know, for the time that I was growing up in Detroit, Oakland County was red. I mean, L. Brooks Patterson had been the county executive up until his death, and I think that was the span of 27 years. So that's all I knew. So this conversation that we're having about turning Oakland County red is really, really funny to have. So if for some reason you haven't been paying attention to politics, let us fill you in. It's a presidential election year, and that means it's another opportunity for candidates to stump for their positions and to make the case for what kind of society they want to create. The Metro has been talking to liberals and conservatives from around the Tri-County area to better understand the issues they feel are most pressing to residents. Last week, we spoke with Femmes for Dems founder Lori Goldman, who discussed all the ways she's organizing for Democrats. In this conversation, producer Sam Corey sat down with Vance Patrick, the head of the Oakland County GOP, to explore why he thinks he can turn out more Republican voters in the area that's become increasingly liberal.
So it's a presidential election year. Michigan is obviously really important. Southeast Michigan is really important to turn out voters. Let's just start here. What are the concerns of Oakland County voters as you see it right now?
Well, Sam, thanks for having me on. And I'll tell you what, Southeast Michigan, Oakland County voters, you wouldn't think that the border would be a problem, the southern border and immigration. But I'll tell you what, when we've got these Chilean gangs coming into Oakland County, going into our high-end homes. Sheriff Bouchard just had an incident in Troy just last week. They were racing down Rochester Road, and they caught 5 of these Chilean gangs that are breaking into high-end homes. This is one of those situations where the southern border situation is on our doorstep. A lot of people don't recognize the problem until it's at their doorstep. The southern border and immigration process that we've been going through for the last 4 years, it's on our doorstep. And I think that the next administration, Donald Trump will fix that.
The Republican Party, especially for Oakland County Republicans, used to be pretty pro-immigration and pro-free market. The Republican Party in general is now very much against immigration and much more sympathetic to labor unions and more skeptical of corporations. I just want to know what you make of this shift because I think it's pretty significant.
Well, let's definitely hit on the immigration. I don't think the Republicans that I run with are definitely not that way. My girlfriend is a second generation Polish girl. My family, my grandfather came over from England. So I'm pro-immigration as long as you come through the front door. None of this sneaking under the back door or swimming across the Detroit River. I am 100%, and a lot of the people that I speak with we're pro-immigration, but it's not hiding and coming in through the back door. We want to make sure you come in legally.
I want to push you on this point a little bit, Vance, because I do think this is interesting. The Biden administration, half a year ago or so, tried to push for an immigration bill and to, in part, make it tighter on immigration, right? There are a lot of people on the left who are not happy with this bill, and it had bipartisan support until Trump came in and squashed it. He said to Republicans not to support the bill. I'm curious why you think that happened. I'm curious what you make of that situation.
I can't speak for why that happened, and I can't put what Donald Trump's opinion was or whatever. But if you're saying that 6 months ago we had a bipartisan bill that was ready to go, where were we for the last 3 years? We had a secure southern border when Donald Trump left office. All the Biden administration had to do was just leave it the way it is. Remain in Mexico was a good policy. We're not against immigration. It's just that wait there until it's your turn, not releasing people into the country and then hoping they come to their court date 3 years later.
Oakland County residents voted for Hillary Clinton in 2016, Governor Whitmer twice in 2018 and 2022, and Joe Biden in 2020. This is a big sea change in Oakland County. I grew up in Oakland County. It was much more red. The county has become much more highly educated and also much more ethnically and racially diverse over, I'd say, the last decade or two. I'm curious what the pitch is to Oakland County residents, what the strategy is to try to push the county more for the Republican side. What's the thing that's going to grab them?
You're right. I've been in Oakland County my entire life as well. And it was a lot redder back when I was growing up. I think that what we're talking to people out there in the public, whether they're soft Dem or in the middle, it's the policies that we've got right now. People don't like the inflation. They don't like the gas prices and the standard talking points that seem to be resonating with a lot of people. I own a construction company. Whenever I'm on a construction job, it's crazy. I don't know these electricians or these plumbers because we tend to run into different groups, and they're all talking about politics. And politics didn't used to be the number one thing to talk about every day. Politics just was a part of the news. Now it seems like politics is the only thing on the news. We don't see the story about the cat stuck in a tree anymore. I think it's the people are getting educated to what politics does and how it affects your life. And if you don't get involved, things are going to happen without you even knowing it.
Are there particular issues that you think would push voters who are more moderate or maybe lean Republican but might sit this one out to come out? I mean, I know you talked about immigration. I am curious what they would gravitate towards. What are the concerns on people's minds and what would pull them towards the Republican Party in Oakland County specifically?
Sure. The inflation seems to be one thing, and then the gas prices and food prices. That's something that literally affects everybody. And whether you're rich or poor, I know I was at an event that Don Jr. was complaining about the price of McDonald's when he went to get his kids a Happy Meal the other day, and he laughed and he said, I can't believe the son of a billionaire is complaining about the price of a McDonald's. But it literally, I noticed it. And it was kind of funny, but it's not funny because we down here at this level, it affects us on a daily basis. So it seems like a lot of people are going out less and they're cooking at home with what they can scrape together to buy their groceries. Restaurants I know are seem to be real easy to get a seat nowadays because of the fact that people are just tightening their belt.
What is the policy, I guess, for changing that from the Republican Party perspective? When I hear Trump talk about this, it's increasing tariffs, which, let's just be honest, I mean, that would increase prices here at home. This is a problem. Like, cost of living really is an issue for people, particularly in terms of housing. You talk about going to the grocery store. It's true. People are upset about this. But, you know, Trump wants to build here locally, which I don't personally have a problem with. But one of the things, if he tries to ramp up production manufacturing here, which I should admit, the Biden administration, of course, has done a lot of different pieces of legislation. But if he does that and then also raises tariffs, the prices are going to go up. There's going to be a price issue. I'm curious if there is something on the Republican platform that will try to do something to tame prices, try to do something, either negotiate with corporations, something to lower prices, because this is a real issue.
The United States has the ability to be self-sufficient. We've got the oil reserves, we've got coal, we've got the farmland, we can grow everything, we've got the skilled labor for manufacturing. I think the fact that the United States can do it on our own, we just need to reinvest in the United States. And then the corporations, the countries that are just dumping their product in our lap, it seems like it's a good deal, but I've heard stories where we're sending live chickens to China, and then they come back as chicken nuggets. How can that be cost effective? It's probably just reinvesting in America is what Trump is looking to do. And I think a lot of people that I speak with, they like that. They'd rather their products be manufactured and or food products grown and processed in America.
Even if it costs more money, though.
Well, if it's going to cost more money, but you're putting people to work, and then they in turn are getting a paycheck out of it, and then they're buying the groceries. So again, I just think the United States is a self-sufficient country with all of our resources and our manufacturing skills. We really need to look at reinvesting in America.
If you're just listening, I'm speaking with Vance Patrick. He's the chairman of the Republican Party of Oakland County. We're talking about what Republicans are doing to turn out the vote in Oakland County. Vance, I want to talk about the recent news of the day, which is that former Detroit Mayor Kwame Kilpatrick will be a featured speaker at an Oakland County Republican Party fundraiser on August 21st. I'm wondering why you chose him to be the speaker.
First of all, Ben Carson is our keynote speaker, and Kwame Kilpatrick will be up on stage for 10 or 15 minutes. But Kwame Kilpatrick still has a following, and he has the ability to go into Detroit and go into the barbershops and talk to the people and say, listen, I went to prison for 10 years. The Democrat Party that was in power when I went to prison is not the Democrat Party that is here today. So he says that's why I'm supporting Donald Trump. And the messaging coming from him, I respect that, and I appreciate that he's willing to take the time. And the Republican Party is an inclusive party, not exclusive. So we're not looking to shun anybody because of their past. We're very welcoming. So if Kwame's got something to add to the Republican Party, I'm all excited to have him in to help us get Donald Trump elected in November.
Last question for you, Vance. Things looked really bad for Democrats, I'd say a month and a half ago before President Biden dropped out of the race for re-election. They look a lot different now. Trump and Vice President Kamala Harris are a lot closer in battleground states. I'm curious if the strategy at all for turning out more independent, more moderate voters in Southeast Michigan has changed since Biden has dropped out of the race.
I don't think it's changed. I think we're continuing with our message because whether it's Joe Biden or Kamala Harris, she was part of the Joe Biden-Kamala Harris ticket. So when she says, I'm going to fix immigration on day one, well, you got 83 days left. Why don't you fix it now? And so all these policies that she's promising to do, she's been there for 3.5 years right now. And so it's kind of like a hollow promise that people are hearing. And I think that the Republican Party just needs to stay on message, secure the southern border, increase energy production in the United States, and work on our Buy American economy. And that's what it's going to take to, I think, rebound and get us out of this recession.
That was producer Sam Corey speaking with Oakland County Republican Party Chairman Vance Patrick. Kwame Kilpatrick and Ben Carson will be speaking at the Suburban Collection Showplace in Novi on Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. And just to note, Vance said some things that were not true in this conversation. When he was referring to burglary attempts by Chilean nationals in Oakland County, he implied that the individuals snuck in through America's southern border. According to Oakland County Sheriff Michael Bouchard, they are here on a visa waiver program. What's more, while prices are high, most economists agree that we are not in an economic recession. So there we have it, guys. Great conversation.
Indeed. This is the Metro. This is the Metro on 1019 WDET FM. I'm Tia Graham. Orlando Bailey, Executive Director of Outlier Media, is also here. And today is New Member Monday. This week, anyone who makes their first ever donation to WDET will receive 4 free tickets to the Michigan Renaissance Festival. Hear ye, hear ye. That's over $100 value, and all you have to do is support your favorite public radio station. Join us now at WDET.org/give and gather your friends and family for a day of wonderful excitement at the Michigan Renaissance Fair, only at WDET. That's for the New Member Mondays happening here. I'm thinking of House of the Dragons. I might show up, ready.
Targaryen out.
I mean, to the head to toe.
Head to toe. I can't wait to see that blonde, that platinum blonde wig on you. That's going to be a sight to see, everybody.
Daenerys Storm. Yeah. Okay.
Coming up, we'll hear from Detroit's transit director about the progress the city is making on its Coolidge Terminal complex. We'll be right back.
It's the Metro on 1019 WDET FM in Detroit. I am Tia Graham here with the Executive Director of Outlier Media, Orlando Bailey.
Hey, y'all. I hope y'all having a good time with us. It's going great, Tia. It's going great.
I'm excited. I haven't stopped giggling since we started.
Well, I'm a jokester a little bit.
You joke, you kid.
I kid.
But we do have another conversation coming up, actually, talking about what's going on within the city of Detroit, Motor City, of course, and DDOT. DDOT has a new terminal that's coming up, and as we were just talking, it is pretty expensive to own a car. I don't know about you, Orlando, but I'm sick of paying my car payment.
Let me tell you, I'm sick of paying for automotive insurance.
Yes.
My automotive insurance is higher than my car payment.
I'm so sick of it. I'm sick of that as well. Yeah. But in Detroit alone, about 22% of households report not having access to a car at all, according to census data that makes other models of transit like biking and buses all the more important. On Friday, Detroit officials announced efforts to improve public transit with construction underway at the Coolidge Terminal on the city's west side. And to discuss the construction that's happening and the city's plan for that project, we have Interim Director of the Detroit Department of Transportation, Michael Staley, is here. Director Staley, welcome back to the Metro.
Good morning. How are you today?
Doing pretty well. So we're just going to catch up a little bit. Last November, plans were made to put forth $160 million to build the Coolidge Terminal. How did this project start?
Well, it was in the works since approximately about 2011 when the existing or the old Coolidge Terminal where there was a fire. So service had operated from the west side of the city of Detroit through the Coolidge Terminal from about 1928 to 2011. When the fire occurred, we had to suspend operations at the old Coolidge Terminal. Things were put on hold for a while during bankruptcy, but the need to have a reliable, state-of-the-art facility on the west side was something that always had to happen.
And what are you planning to build on the west side of the city? What is included in this particular terminal?
There will be 3 buildings. Approximately the total square footage is approximately 200,000 square feet. There will be a bus storage and cleaning facility that comes in at just over 121,000 square feet. There'll be a fleet maintenance building, which is almost 55,000 square feet, and then 17,000 square foot operations building. That'll serve as the main point of entry for employees and visitors who are arriving at the facility as well.
This is such a large project. Where did the money come from for this particular project?
There's, as you mentioned, it's $160 million in total is the estimate, and that includes $10 million for demolition of the existing terminal. But $102.5 million came from the Federal Transit Administration, There's $31.5 million in city funding, and then almost $26 million from the Michigan Department of Transportation.
And why does this project matter so much? What will this terminal mean for the efficiency of Detroit's bus services?
It literally will be a 21st century state-of-the-art facility for operations, maintenance, and administration. So it will improve efficiencies in how we service the vehicles and how we deploy service every day. But the best part is it really will improve working conditions for the transit equipment operators. So we will have all kinds of amenities for the bus operators, including Wi-Fi and a driver's bus lounge and some additional amenities. But again, it will just it'll allow us to service vehicles more efficiently and to deploy them in a more reliable fashion from a west side location.
If you're just joining us, we're speaking with Interim Director of Detroit's Department of Transportation, Michael Staley. We're discussing the city's efforts to build its Coolidge Terminal on the city's west side.
Director Staley, it's Orlando Bailey. I have a question. Could you sort of give us a little bit of a temperature check in terms of DDOT performance? Earlier, before we got started, we were talking about the high rates of automotive insurance and just how cost prohibitive it is for Detroiters to drive legally here in the city of Detroit. But the narrative around the Detroit Department of Transportation is that the buses aren't dependable, they are lagging. Could you sort of give us a temperature check on where we are with bus performance, arrival times, on time, and timeliness?
I can. So when I was appointed to the position, DDOT's fixed route service was operating about 62, 63% on time. Our goal for calendar year 2024 was that we wanted to improve our on-time performance 2% every month. We've not been able to do that. We've improved it about 1% every month. So the overall on-time performance of the fixed route service is about 70% right now. Our service standard is 85%. As we're adding more transit equipment operators and getting more of the fleet available every day, we expect to see that on-time performance improve, the service reliability go up, and correspondingly would hope that customer complaints would go down, most directly those related to unreliable service. But we've got work to do. There's no question about it.
Director Staley, is there a timeline that you all have outlined for these improvements to be actualized?
Again, what our goal was to get the service at or close to 85% by the end of calendar year 2024. So we've got a few more months left to do that. We're working on that every day. That remains the goal.
All right.
And Michael, really quickly, you are rebuilding a terminal here. Why is it a good area to maintain and store buses? What made you guys pick this particular area?
Well, it had, as you rightfully pointed out, it was the existing Coolidge Terminal. It literally is our phoenix rising from the ashes. And the location on the west side just gives us a better ability to deploy more effectively those routes that serve the west side of the city. So I can't tell you how the original decision was made back in the 20s for the location of the terminal, but right now, as I said, it'll give us better access to the west side of the city and those routes that serve those areas.
Before we let you go, how long will it take to complete this terminal?
We are looking at late 25, early 26. So the winter of 25-26.
All righty then. Thank you so much for joining both of us on the Metro. Michael Staley is the Interim Director of Detroit's Department of Transportation. Director Staley, thank you once again for being back.
Always good talking to you. Thank you so much, both of you. Appreciate it. Have a good day.
You too.
It's the Metro on 101.9 WDET FM. Once again, expect a chance of rain this afternoon. It's going to be in the low 70s with a 20-mile-per-hour breeze. It was pretty breezy when we came in here today. And so we're going to see that nice weather. Hopefully it doesn't turn into hard rain like it was yesterday. Just downpours every 5 minutes.
Afro Nation was sending us updates like, we gonna start soon as the weather passes, because I was at Afro Nation.
Yes. No, how was it?
Oh my God, it was cinematic. Yes. It was a movie. It was so Detroit. To see the Black African diaspora on full display in America's largest majority Black city was a gift.
Yes.
It was really something to behold, and I had a blast. And I always say place matters, and the fact that it was on the old Brewster Douglass site.
Exactly. I love the fact that it's there. Exactly.
Yeah,
it's so
good.
important. If you're from the city, you know exactly why it's so important to be there. The projects used to be in that area, and they're since gone, and now it's just like a place for Blackness to just thrive.
To thrive and to be reclaimed.
Yes.
So I thoroughly enjoyed it. All right, guys. Michigan does not have enough housing. We're going to talk about that. But before we go, a top Michigan Democrat says party leaders need to stress state-related messages during this week's national convention in Chicago. State Representative Jason Morgan is the Michigan Democratic Party's first vice chair. He says the party needs to be unified coming out of the convention and needs to show support for Michigan's working class. Tonight's convention speakers include President Joe Biden, First Lady Jill Biden, and former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton. NPR's convention coverage begins at 9 p.m. and WDET's Russ McNamara and Quinn Kleinfelter report from Chicago all week.
Indeed, they do. We'll get an update from them later this week. Coming up, we'll talk about the new ways one state agency is working to increase Michigan's housing stock. Stay right there. It's the Metro on 101.9 WDET FM. I am Tia Graham, and
I am Orlando Bailey. And Michigan doesn't have enough housing. 41% of Michigan local officials report a shortage of single-family homes in their communities. That's up by 23% since 2017, according to a University of Michigan report. And now, some have been trying to solve the problem. On Mackinac Island this past summer, Governor Gretchen Whitmer said she wanted to build or rehab 115,000 housing units by 2026. And in the spring, the Michigan State Housing Development Authority, or MSHDA, was granted the ability to use state funds to increase housing. Last week, Alethea Caspin and Zach Gorchow of Mishmash sat down with the agency's director, Amy Hovey, to learn more.
So, Amy, tell us about what MSHDA does, its mission historically, and how you are expanding that.
Yeah, well, historically, we've been a federal-funded organization where we really were focusing on housing for Michiganders at 80% and below area median income. So for low and moderate income families across the state. But that's changed. Now we just say we're here to make sure that every Michigander has a place to call home. And we really are all things housing. We're in a housing crisis in our state right now. The entire country is, but Michigan is no exception to that. And because of the lack of demand, folks at all different types of income levels are now housing vulnerable, right? So where we're really focused on folks before that were really low and moderate income, really we're seeing middle income families struggling to find housing that they can afford, whether it's homeownership opportunities or rental opportunities, and in all areas of our state.
So, Amy, this year's state budget appropriates state dollars to MSHDA. You mentioned the historical mission of dealing with federal items. And traditionally, the state hasn't put money into MSHDA, but that's changing. How does this $100 million in state money free up MSHDA to do more than it has in the past?
Yeah, it really is allowing us to work with communities across the state at looking at housing, at families, all the way up to 120% of area median income. So really the majority of Michigan families in our state are now going to be eligible for projects that we help finance. So MSHDA is like a bank, right? The majority of the products that we have are investments, right? Loans, both for single family homes, so your average mortgage, to investing in multifamily through the low income housing tax credit. With the state appropriation, we're able to do grant programs, which make it easier for folks that aren't typically in the housing development arena get involved in utilizing programs from MSHDA to help us develop housing throughout the state. So we're seeing more emerging developers be able to enter into the housing development arena. We're seeing businesses become involved because of the housing shortages. Businesses are having a hard time attracting employees. So they'll get folks that, interview for the job and accept a position, and then they come up to look for a place to live, such as towns like Munising that I'm sitting in today, and they can't find housing. So then they have to say, we no longer can accept that position. We can't find a place to live. And it's really hitting hard across the state. So this state funding is immensely important to be able to meet that demand across the state for all different types of income levels. Workforce housing is just such a huge need. So we're very thankful for the state funding. We've created missing middle programs. We also have the My Neighborhood program, which is our way of responding to what locals want to see in their community. So it's very versatile. So we require that the projects that we fund meet the needs in regional housing plans. And so whether it's new construction or rehabilitation, multifamily or single family, or even looking at homeowner repair programs, we have that My Neighborhood program that can be responsive to all the individual needs across the state, which is pretty cool. And we couldn't do it with federal funding. Federal funding has lots of strings attached, as you can imagine, and is really only there to help the most vulnerable families in Michigan.
You have likely heard criticism from the housing construction industry that a big part of the problem here is state regulations driving up the cost of building a new house. Can you address that?
Yeah, it's an easy thing to say. And do we have too much regulation? Maybe. I don't know. That's not part of what we do. But I can tell you for a fact that's not the only thing, right? So to build a new home in Michigan on average is like $375,000, right? That's for like 1,100 square foot home. The average Michigan family can only afford $173,000. So the added regulations that may be hindering and adding to the extra cost certainly is not that entire gap. The governor has called for quicker permit processes. We have legislation about creating and allowing for higher density housing, which I think are some of those kind of incremental steps that we can do to bring down the cost. And I think we do need to look at everything and approach all different types of things to bring down the cost for housing. But even if we fix those, there's still just a huge gap. If the market could fix itself, it would, right? If builders were making money off of building homes and developing multifamily without any government subsidy, it would be happening at a higher rate. But our building permits are not where they used to be because there's just really not as big a market who can afford a house over $375,000.
That was Alethea Caspin and Zach Gorchow of the Gongwer News Service exploring the ways the state is working to increase its housing stock. You can find episodes of WDET's State Politics podcast at WDET.org or wherever you find your podcasts.
It's the Metro on 101.9 WDET FM. I am Tia Graham, and this week we're joined by the Executive Director of Outlier Media, Orlando Bailey.
Hey, y'all.
Hello. And it's New Member Monday, and this week for New Member Monday, we're giving away a 4-pack of tickets to the Michigan Renaissance Festival to anyone who makes their first ever donation to WDET. If you've never donated before, make that today. Visit WDET.org/give now. Show your favorite public radio station some love with a gift of support, and we'll send you the brand new House of Dragons pub only at the Michigan Renaissance Festival. We'll see you there, actually. Not send you. We'll see you there. I can't send you anything. I personally can't send you anything.
The WDET listener survey is back, and we want to hear from you. What do you think of the Metro? Believe me, we read every single comment. So share your thoughts, and you could win some neat WDET swag. It's quick, it's anonymous, and you'll be helping us serve you better. Take the survey now at WDET.org/survey.
Now. Don't wait. Do it now. Don't wait.
Do it now.
Yes.
Do it now.
Do it now. But while we have a little bit of time here at the end of the program, Orlando Bailey, the Executive Director of Outlier Media, you're new to this role.
I am. As of June 3rd. I've been in the role since June 3rd. It's been 2 months since of change, and hit the ground running.
Yes. Like, how's it been? What is it like to be at the top of the helm, to be at the top?
Well, it is a tremendous responsibility, right? And it's one that I do not take lightly, because we not only do amazing work, but we have amazing people doing amazing work. And I want to make sure those people can stay employed and that we meet payroll every couple of weeks. And so that part, it weighs on me, but it's a good weight, because the work is so good. It's easy to fund. It's easy for us to find funding. And so I am so appreciative of everyone over there. I got to overlap with the former executive director, Candace Fortman, who used to work here at WDET. Candace and I had known each other for some years, but it was a tremendous honor to get to actually be her colleague in a workplace for a couple of months. And so it's been great. It's been going really well.
And, just staying on this topic of executive director, and kind of being in this, you're in this position to help curate a lot of the news that Metro Detroiters are listening to and reading. But to be a black man in that position in the city of Detroit, to curate it, just like Candace was a black woman in that position, being able to curate news for Detroiters, what is it like?
Well, you look around and you don't see a whole lot of us when I'm talking about black men actually leading newsrooms. And so I do deem it a privilege, but I also see it as a responsibility to hold that door open for young and up-and-coming black journalists to ascend into these kinds of positions. And so pipeline building is really, really important to me. Mentorship, like being a mentor, is really important to me, because when I came into the workforce, we were in a recessed economy and a bankrupt Detroit, and didn't nobody have time to mentor little Orlando. And so I always say yes.
Yes, I love that so much. It's just so important. And what are the aims of Outlier Media for those who may not know and understand what the publication does?
Oh, absolutely. So Outlier Media is a service journalism organization that seeks to fill the information gaps, the accountability gaps, and connection gaps that exist within the city of Detroit through news. And so what we do is we have an information needs assessment a couple times a year. Thankfully, we'll be working with DMAX at the University of Michigan, because we're not surveyors, we are journalists, to refine our survey to make sure that we are hitting our editorial points, whereby Detroiters are saying this is the information that they need to not only survive in the city of Detroit, but to thrive. And we believe information is one of the spokes to liberate a city.
I love that Sarah Alvarez came on the show and she broke down some of the statistics from the data that you guys were putting in. And it was one of the most fascinating conversations in the way that it's just...
Sarah Alvarez is fascinating. She's such a fascinating human. And beyond her fascination, she's so smart, right? And so to have found something like this, it's been great.
It has been great. And that was just the Monday. That was just today. Today was just
today,
Monday. So I'm looking forward to the rest of the week with you.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it too. That's the Metro for Monday, August 19th. You can listen to recent episodes online at WDET.org, and make sure you subscribe to the podcast on your favorite platform. The show is also on YouTube if you like listening that way.
If you like listening that way, this is WDET-FM, Detroit Public Radio, your connection to news, music, and conversation. Thanks for listening. Orlando and myself will see you tomorrow.